I think they're about done clearing from lunch. Thank you very much. That lunch was fantastic. And welcome to our awards ceremony. My name is Judy Wolford, and I'm the Pickaway County Prosecutor, and I am chair of the awards committee. But before we get to the awards that the Ohio Prosecuting Attorneys Association is going to give, I'd like to introduce our state auditor, Keith Faber, who is going to give an award of his own. Auditor Faber.
I'm going to ask Bob Smith to come up here. Most of you know Bob. He's a great asset for our office and does a lot of our special prosecutions. It's my pleasure to be here today. As most of you know, we've traveled across the state. I've had a chance to meet with many of you. We've done business meetings now in all 88 counties in our first 11 months. It's been a great experience. Our office is here to help you if you find that we can be helpful, particularly with public corruption or anything dealing with numbers and accounting. Don't forget that we do have our Special Investigations Unit that has forensic auditors in there as well. And I've even made the offer, if we can be helpful there on a number case, we'll certainly help walk you or your staff through an accounting type case on a case-by-case basis. But started by my predecessor, Dave Yost, we're here to honor a prosecutor that has gone above and beyond their duty as a watchdog for Ohioans. As a watchdog for taxpayers, our Public Integrity Award this year goes to the Cuyahoga County Prosecutor, Michael O'Malley. I don't think Prosecutor O'Malley knew about this, so I was glad he was here.
I did.
His office effectively and efficiently prosecuted 2 significant SIU cases involving the theft of significant taxpayer dollars. Those cases involved the Strongville City School District and the City of Bedford Water Department. On May 14th, the Cuyahoga County Prosecutor's Office filed a bill of information charging the maintenance man with theft in office and tampering with records. Later in the year, he pled guilty. He was sentenced to 9 months in order to pay restitution of nearly $50,000. His team handled the case quickly and professionally. Only 4 days lapsed between the execution of search warrant and the filing of criminal charges, which led to the guilty plea. The span time from the execution of the search warrant and the time when the offender went to prison was just over 5 months. In the City of Bedford Water Department, the prosecutor in his office helped charge 2 city workers who had ordered who ultimately had to pay back $90,000 in restitution. Thank you for your service. Thank you for looking out for taxpayers and being a true watchdog of the Treasury. Thanks for what you do, and keep up the good work.
I'm never short of words, but I would just like to thank both Auditor Yost when he was auditor, as well as Auditor Faber. You know, my office, unfortunately, we do have a lot of these type of cases, but we have a great working relationship with our partners from Columbus, and I appreciate their assistance in these complicated cases, and we got a good partnership going forward. Thank you.
Thank you.
And that was great, except that the state auditor stole my notes. Yeah, which would be a problem. I'd really like to thank my committee members, and I know most of them are in the room, and if you are, I'd like you to stand. Steve Pronine from Madison County, David Phillips from Union County, Matt Heck from Montgomery County, and Mike O'Malley, who just got the award from Cuyahoga County. Thank you very much, guys. So today we're going to start with the Law Enforcement Officers of the Year. Now, if you saw the news this morning, this probably isn't going to be a surprise to anyone. but I'd like to read you what the person who nominated them said. A little after 1 a.m. on Sunday, August the 4th, 2019, 24-year-old Connor Betts, wearing a mask and bulletproof body armor, fatally shot a victim in an alley in Dayton's Oregon District, a popular nightclub and entertainment district. He then walked onto East 5th Street and opened fire into the crowd of people there with a .223 caliber AR-15 style assault rifle equipped with a 100-round magazine. On this warm summer night, the streets were crowded, with many citizens outside at any number of sidewalk patios. 6 Dayton police officers already in the area rushed directly toward and engaged the shooter within 32 seconds of his first shot and returned fire, fatally striking the assailant. Tragically, in that short amount of time, Betts managed to fatally shoot 8 victims and injure another 32. The deceased victims included Monica Brickhouse, 39, Nicholas Coomer, 25, Derek Fudge, 57, Thomas McNichols, 25, Lois Oglesby, 27, Shahid Salah, 38, Logan Turner, 30, Beatrice Curtis, 36, and Megan Betts, 22, who was the shooter's sister. The officer shot the shooter just outside the entrance to a bar that the shooter was about to enter. Many citizens had just entered the establishment in order to take cover. If the assailant had managed to enter that bar, Ned Peppers, the death toll could have been dozens, if not hundreds. The deceased shooter was wearing a backpack, and inside it, police found yet another 100-round magazine. Clearly, if not for the quick, heroic actions of the 6 Dayton police officers, the shooter would have killed many, many more citizens. For these reasons, I nominate the 6 Dayton police officers, Officer Jeremy Campbell, Officer Vincent Carter, Officer David Denlinger, Officer Ryan Nabel, Officer Brian Rolfs, and Sergeant William Knight for the Ohio Prosecuting Attorneys Association Peace Officer of the Year Award. Matt Hack, we agreed with you. If you would all like to come forward, please.
Thank you very much. I have to tell you, it's certainly an honor for my office and me to nominate these officers to be Peace Officer of the Year Award. Justice system depends on our police officers, on the local, state, and federal partners to keep us safe and free. And I think whether they're making a traffic stop, whether they're executing a search warrant, whether they're responding and running towards a mass shooter, it's this type of bravery that's exhibited by police officers, and especially these officers, every single day, as they routinely face danger in order to protect us and our communities. So I certainly want, again, to thank them on behalf of not only the Ohio Prosecuting Attorneys Association, but my office as well as the entire community in Montgomery County for what they did. With them today also is Chief Richard Beal, Chief of the Dayton Police Department, and Lieutenant Colonel Eric Henderson, and also Kirsten Knight, one of the wives of the sergeant, as well as Ashley Denlinger, a wife of one of the other officers. So we really appreciate you being here too. So again, congratulations. And if one of you want to make a statement, that would be great. Sure. Here we go. Let's give it to them first. Officer David Denlinger. Officer Carter. Sergeant Knight. Officer Campbell. Officer Nabell. And Officer Roll.
Chief Beal.
Oh, yes, Sergeant Knight to join me here.
Thank you,
The
Chief.
burden of supervision, but our sincere appreciation for this well-deserved recognition for the heroic, swift, and decisive actions of these officers responding to a armed assailant for which no officer and no community ever wants to experience. Their remarkable response saved an untold number of lives, clearly from all those who had gathered in at Peppers in an effort to seek safety and not realizing that they were going into a den of potential harm. A few more seconds could have changed all of that. So their quick, decisive, heroic action saved many lives, and it also extended, not only with the 6 officers here, but the almost 100 police officers that responded. Because more could have died if they did not receive essential, critical life support immediately following the shooting, including, I think it's 18 tourniquets applied by police officers on the scene before transports by medical personnel could even occur. So much went into the complete response to this tragic event to minimize casualties. So their actions were essential, but all those who responded to that, their actions also were essential and critical in helping prevent further loss of life. So on behalf of the Dayton Police Department, I want to say, we are deeply appreciative of their efforts, their leadership, their courage in taking the action they did as representative of a community of police officers who do this day in and day out, as Matt has already mentioned. And with that, I'll see if Sergeant Knight wants to say a word or two.
Thank you, Chief.
I don't think he was sincere when he said that.
I wasn't really prepared to say anything, but this is a great honor. Thank you very much for bringing us up here, especially since we do work so closely with you guys every single day. We know all the folks at the tables here with Montgomery County and worked with you for years, and we're just we're proud that we're able to do such a, I guess, a good thing in a bad time. And I thank God every day I had the guys I have with me right now. They're the best in the world. And thank you very much and everything. Thank you, Kirsten, for standing by me.
Congratulations. Thank you. Thank you. as we get together each year to do the awards, those are the kind of moments that make this job totally worthwhile. So we'll move on to our outstanding staff person. And the nomination that came in about this person said that she had worked for this particular office for 16 and a half years. She has a total of 31 years in the legal profession. When she started here, she was able to step into the role of secretary assistant to the Common Pleas Court prosecutor because of her ability to learn quickly and her thorough understanding of the legal system. In that capacity, she is like having a second prosecutor or an investigator on the case. She has a thorough understanding of the mission of the office. She has consistently made suggestions to streamline our processes and save time for everyone. She exhibits a high degree of professionalism. She has taken upon herself to learn the jobs of other support staff so she can help out as needed. She works overtime without ever being asked. You only have to ask her once to do something, and you can be confident that it will be done. When there are deadlines, she makes sure they are met, even if they are not her deadlines. When in doubt, she looks up to the law for clarification. She has a deep and abiding interest in her work and the work of the office as a whole, and she puts that mission first. She is invaluable as a first responder. When urgent situations arise, she has the experience and judgment necessary to evaluate what needs to be done and who needs to do it. If she can handle it, she does. If a prosecutor is needed, she finds the right one, gives the pertinent details, and offers her assistance. The success of this office in prosecuting criminal cases is a direct result of Kim Welsh's involvement in the Madison County Prosecutor's Office. If Kim and Steve Pronine would like to come forward and say a few things.
All the prosecutors and assistant prosecutors know that we wouldn't be able to do our jobs without the secretarial staff and office administrators that we have in each office. In this case, Kim runs the show. She tells me what to do 3/4 of the time. Her knowledge of the law is 10 plus. I'll say this with the police here. Most of the investigators in our county are scared of her because when she calls, they know they've done something wrong, or they didn't do what they were supposed to do, or they don't have the information. They didn't give us the information that we needed. This office wouldn't run without Kim, so she richly deserves this award.
Next, we turn to the meritorious assistant prosecuting attorney. And this particular nomination says that this person has, after a total of 38 years of devoted and faithful service in the criminal justice profession, he will be retiring 4 months from now. He began his career in criminal justice as a prosecutor's investigator in Ashland County in 1981. Beginning in July 1985, he served as an assistant prosecuting attorney in Portage County until he accepted an assistant prosecuting attorney position with Wayne County Prosecutor's Office in 1987. Now, after having served the citizens of Wayne County for 33 years, he will be retiring at the end of March 2020. He brought justice to countless victims while making sure that thousands of defendants were held accountable for their crimes. Some of the things that he has done over his extensive career include the following. He tried the first DNA case in Wayne County history, an aggravated burglary, rape, and attempted murder using PCR and RFLP DNA analysis provided by Cellmark Diagnostics. That's before BCI began doing DNA analysis. He tried a former police officer who 30 years earlier had held this exact same investigator position that he held at the beginning of his criminal justice career. The defendant had picked up a developmentally disabled runaway girl and sexually assaulted her and is now serving a sentence of 10 years to life. He tried the first and perhaps only case of aggravated murder against a trooper of the Ohio State Highway Patrol. Despite an excellent prosecution, the jury only found the trooper guilty of a charge of voluntary manslaughter after a pastor on the jury convinced the other jurors to pray with him about the appropriateness of the verdict. He tried the longest trial in Wayne County history, which surprisingly was not a homicide case. It involved a $13 million Ponzi scheme. He has tried many aggravated murder trials that have resulted in sentences of life without the possibility of parole, one of which was the second of only 2 death penalty cases held in Wayne County. This prosecutor says, I have known this person since 1991. From that time to now, I have been a defense counsel on the other side of the cases he prosecuted. I have been a fellow assistant prosecutor working alongside him, and I have been his boss. In every single interaction with him, I never had any reason to doubt his integrity. If he said it, I could completely trust it was true and factual. The void from his absence after he retires in March of next year will be sorely felt, not only by me personally, but by the rest of my office staff and all the citizens of Wayne County as well. John Williams perfectly represents the true definition of a devoted, dependable, and trustworthy public servant. John, if you'd like to come forward along with Dan Lutz of Wayne County.
Okay, I do. I don't know if I can say it much better than what I wrote in the nomination for John, but Lou promised me I wouldn't have to get up here. Where are you, Lou? But anyway, you know, John has just been an icon in Wayne County with the prosecutor's office. His institutional knowledge of what happens in the county. He knows all the potential witnesses, and I mean, not all, but many times we have cases where, oh yeah, I know that person, this person has this, you know, going for him or doesn't. They're going to be a bad witness, good witness. Just the knowledge he has for trying cases over all those years is just amazing. And it is going to be a huge void that we're going to have to fill in our office that I'm not looking forward to. I'll be trying to steal someone from my colleagues in this room who has significant experience. But John has agreed that when we need help on appeals, he's very good doing appellate practice also and writing appellate briefs. He's agreed to come in and help us when we need that, so we're going to do that periodically just to see him, because he is, like I said, he's going to be sorely missed. And you know, that part about being able to trust someone implicitly is just so true about John, and I've told him that before. I've written that in his evaluations. I've known, you know, John came to the Wayne County Prosecutor's Office when I was graduating from law school, so he's been there a long time. But when I initially came into Wayne County, I was an assistant public defender, had cases with John, never had any reason to doubt what he said about a case, never heard anyone else say anything else other than that who's worked with John. I worked as a fellow assistant prosecutor with him, and as I indicated in the nomination, as his boss. And it is just such an honor to know a person like John Williams. It truly is. Thank you, John.
Thank you, and it's been interesting being here. 30 years I've been coming to this meeting and never stop learning. And I think that's the advice I'd give anyone. It reminded me today that one of the first lessons I learned was from a defense attorney who now just happens to be the president of this association, it was an assault case and a bench trial. And that was when I learned that assaults are often mutual combat, and the victim is the first one who makes it to the prosecutor's office. I just want to say, I never stopped watching people, never stopped learning. Anybody who wants to stay as long as I did, that's what you got to do. Thank you.
And last but not least for this afternoon, our outstanding Assistant Prosecuting Attorney. This nomination I'm reading from actually came from a chief of police. And this person's boss has echoed everything that is in this nomination. This particular assistant has shown great dedication and tenacity on various occasions throughout her time as an assistant prosecutor. Specifically, I cite her work on a case against a certain defendant. His name is John Morgan. This case involved a multi-state investigation of aggravated robbery. While the case sat idle in other jurisdictions, this particular prosecuting assistant picked up the lead and began the difficult process of analyzing, sifting through, and deciphering up to 14 different cases and the evidence included with those cases in order to bring various counts against the defendant within our jurisdiction. I personally met with her on numerous occasions during normal business hours, after hours, and on the weekend in order to discuss evidence, case presentation, and needed further investigation to successfully prosecute the defendant. She showed great concern and desire to see the justice served in our cases, including constant review of the items while in trial, which led to the defendant making a last-minute plea. Her dedication and focus is a model for casework. Her understanding of trial work, preparation, and the law are a benefit to this county and the law enforcement agencies within. She is an active participant in prosecutions while maintaining a very kind and down-to-earth personality. I believe I can speak for most law enforcement and her co-workers in saying that she is dedicated in making a difference and more than worthy of this honor. I understand she also has a husband and a little boy, and she likes to ride horses. And that young lady is Miss Stacy Sturris from Williams County. Katie, do you want to come up with her?
I'm Katie Zartman. I'm the Williams County prosecutor. I nominated Stacy for her work in 2 main cases. First, she mentioned John Morgan. We based our case of 3 aggravated robberies at gas stations solely on other acts evidence from robberies that he had done in Indiana and Michigan. And Stacy was the only prosecutor from any of the jurisdictions that was willing to take that case on. She successfully argued the motion in limine on the other acts evidence, and it resulted in a 12-year guilty sentence. And then secondly, she just indicted this summer 14 defendants on RICO charges, engaging in a pattern of corrupt activity for drug trafficking. And to me, the thread between these 2 cases was Stacy being incredibly proactive in making these cases happen when other prosecutors would decline because such an uphill battle was faced. Stacy saw we have drug possession cases over and over and over and over, and the police are very busy. She really put together the RICO cases, sought out the evidence, and completed a lot of the investigation, hundreds of hours, in order to bring these drug dealers to justice. She's an extraordinary assistant prosecutor, and I'm very pleased to work with her. Thank you.
I'll just say a couple things. I was very concerned about working with law enforcement What they didn't tell you is I was a defense attorney for quite a long time and a defense attorney in the area where I'm now practicing. And the chief in this particular case, at a certain point, tried to limit me to 2 phone calls a week. I started using the court staff, and I would call from there, and he would always answer. But he caught on to that after a while, too. But you're really only as strong as your team, and law enforcement has really become a team with me, and I greatly value that. So thank you.
Thank you very much. That'll end our program tonight at the banquet, which starts at 7 o'clock.